Welcome, it's Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo here for another The Making of a DM. My outfit is over there, my green screen is over there, because this morning I want to talk as me, not in character. So what does it mean to be a DM? And that's something I've been challenging myself on for quite some time. Quite some time would be 3 weeks. 3 weeks tops. It was just before my surgery that I got this idea, and I still, you can see, I'm having lots of issues with the surgery as it was 1 week ago, right about now. It was about 9 o'clock last Thursday that I had it. Which is why my voice is somewhat screwed up and will be for about another 4 weeks. It'll be going up and down and probably settling somewhere around here. But let's go back to the making of a DM. What I've done is I've done a lot of research. And the research I've done has to do with going all the way back through time and reading a lot of the adventures that were around back when I was young, like probably the age of the people that I work with. So in my 20s. And the adventures back then were short. And when I say short, they could be done in 1, 2, or 3 sittings. And they were really about getting loot. And that's something that Matthew Corville goes over in his building the game or running the game playlist over on his channel. And maybe there'll be something up over here or over there, or just a link below on how to get to his channel. And today you seem to be more of a storyteller. And why am I here in the first place? Well, when it comes down to it, my biggest issue that I've had recently is on most of the new games that come out, the content is very small. The game, the universe. And unless you're playing something like Skyrim or Fallout 4, you get a pretty small storyline with not a whole lot of engaging detail in it. And still, when you step into a world like a computer graphic generated world, you don't get the history, the whys and what fors, and the how comes. Like, why are you there? Why are you important? What is the story? How did it start? What is the lore? Even when people jump into MMORPGs, which are supposed to have all of this, with rich stories built into quest lines and books lying around that tell the backstory, people just run right through, kill their 10 rats, and move on to the next quest. So, am I really being critical of not just the people that produce these games, but the people that play these games? I'm not sure, and I hope I'm not offending anyone. I just want something richer and more fulfilling. And when I saw Matt Mercer's Critical Role, and maybe you'll see it here or there, or maybe you'll get the link down below, I started to see that as a DM, as a player in the D&D universe or any of the tabletop RPGs, you had that. You had the whys, the what fors, the how comes, and the why, especially the why you're special. But it's all in your hands. Yes, it takes a great writer to write these adventures and to give us a reason for being there in the first place. But the reason for continuing is usually us, how well we roleplay. Alright, so I've always been a little bit uncomfortable in role-playing, and that's probably why I played Dungeons & Dragons for a short time. In the past, it was because I was transgender, and I didn't really want anybody to know that I wanted to be me, because it was not so good back then. In fact, there's still a lot of assholes out there that have their own opinion of it, but that's what kept me from role-playing in the past. Well, when I got to be behind a computer screen and play games like World of Warcraft and Star Wars The Old Republic, Star Wars Galaxies, EverQuest, EverQuest 2, Dark Age of Camelot, I got to be who I wanted to be and roll it the way I wanted to until TeamSpeak, Mumble, and Ventrilo came around where people said, "Hey, you have a deep voice." Duh. Okay. But I like playing the characters I like to play. So when I played those games, I used to role play a lot. So this is something that I find is going to be very, very important when playing a game like Dungeons and Dragons. Oh boy, I hope I have the right crew. I have a crew of 6. I have some people waiting in the wings too. Not so sure how well that's going to work out for my first time, but I'm going to give it a good go. So, for the first one of my adventures to bring my group through, I chose something small, something I found on a DM forum that got many, many stars as a great starter adventure. Well, I can't wait to run it because I really need the practice and I want to see how well I do. And if I do well at that one, I'm going to do one more short one, and then I have a canned one up in that area that I will be bringing my group through. And hopefully it's not before the next one of the canned adventures comes out, because I think I might want to play Dungeons and Dragons the Storm... Oh, what do they call it? The Storm Giants? That might be a good one to play. Alright, but I've also found something else out when watching this gentleman. Oh, he might be there, or it might just be a link below, like I said. And that's Wil Wheaton. There's more out there than just D&D. I know a lot of the kids play Pathfinder, and that's probably because I heard that D&D 4th edition was horrible. 5th edition seems to be incredible, and that's what I have picked up for my first foray into it. But I've also found Savage Worlds, and something based on a futuristic Dragon Age society called Fantasy Age. And that's what Wil Wheaton brought to me. And I really think that's something I might want to bring my group through at some point. The Fantasy Age seems to be a simplified rule set, but its world seems to be very inviting. Mixing magic with science? That sounds so gnomish. Can't wait to see how that turns out. Well, I'm getting to the point where I have to start thinking about how we're going to set up. So next week I have a couple of people coming over. We're going to go into my basement, which is not really a basement. It's really fleshed out down there. I'm going to set up a table, and we're going to set up cameras and the microphone and see how we can get this taken care of. I think it will be interesting to see how and where we're going to be playing, and for you to meet some of the people at least beforehand. On the 12th, I'll be recording our first session. And during that recording, you'll be meeting the characters and hearing their backstories. And then you'll be introduced to the first quick campaign. Because we have a lot to do that night, it'll probably take 2 weeks to go through this campaign. But normally, if you have everything all set up and everything, it would only take 1. After that, I'm going to pick another canned one from a DM website, DM forum, and bring my group through it. That one might take about a month, and then we're going to go hit one of the nicer canned missions. All this time, there's actually a, somewhere around here, there's a purple folder. Yeah, purple folder and a composition book next to it. Those 2 things are my story, and little by little, it's getting fleshed out. And I got some communication from someone named Jack the Writer. I'm going to let him see it and see if he can help me. And if any of you have ever written any kind of encounters or stories for the D&D universe or any of the other tabletop RPG universes, I'd love to get your input, because I'd like to incorporate it into those and give you credit for it as my team runs through it. That's going to be later on, probably towards the more towards the Christmas season. But that should be starting our Season 2 of this, The Making of a DM. At that point, it should be called something completely different. And that's all I have for you this week. So, travel safe and roll high, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.